What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and let's dive into week 8 of the reverse diet of this contest prep reverse diet series. So, we have this week 8 rounds out the end of one phase and introduces the beginning of the next phase. So I want to kind of dive into that and talk about what we have going on there. Before I do that, let's talk about what my stats are. I've got some updated posing footage for you here. I did a caliper test on Monday of this week. On Monday, I woke up at 172.7, and according to the calipers, I was at 7.78% body fat. Now, I don't necessarily think I'm actually 7.78%. I think I'm probably closer to like 8.5 or 9, maybe 10. Probably not quite 10, but getting close. And I feel like the calipers always show a little lower than actual once you are above about 6% body fat. At least that's what I've noticed for me personally. Once I'm above about 6% body fat, it tends to show a little lower than I actually am. I think I'm probably a little heavier than the 7.78% that it's indicating. Now, I think the 8.5 to 9.5, that is pretty much on the lower end of where I want to sustain during this maintenance, or not maintenance, but kind of like reverse diet / building phase. I feel like as a natural bodybuilder and as a male, you can totally put on quality lean muscle tissue in the off season and be between 8% and 14% probably on the upper end. Somewhere in that window, you're gonna be able to maximize muscle building and not risk sacrificing any of those gains. So I feel like that's a pretty healthy window to be in. That's probably where I'm going to try and maintain somewhere in that rough general ballpark. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, let's dive into the updated posing footage. All right, so as you can see here, I am holding a little bit more water. Keep in mind this is Monday, so the very beginning of week 8. This is basically 1 week after removing the Miracle Rice and some of the filler foods. So I'm holding some water still from all of that. I've definitely filled out a little bit, but I feel good. I feel like I look good. I feel like I look healthy. I feel like I'm obviously not competition lean, but that's totally to be expected at this stage in the game. I've got a little bit of a bloat to the gut, but again, that is totally to be expected at this point as well. I still have striations. I still have vascularity. I still look and feel like a bodybuilder, so that's a plus for sure. You don't ever want to get just super sloppy in the reverse diet or in the off season. I feel like this level of conditioning I can maintain pretty effortlessly. So this is probably a good indicator of where I'm going to be throughout the rest of my reverse diet and building phase from a compositional leanness standpoint. I don't feel like there's any need to get heavier than this really, or fatter than this really. This is pretty sustainable for me, so I feel good with it. This is where I'm going to be. Now, I want to talk about the macro manipulations because we got a lot of macro manipulations going on at this course. Like I said, this is rounding out the end of week 8, which we've been seeing several refeeds during this reverse diet thus far. I played around with doing one massive refeed, 2-day consecutive refeeds during the reverse, and I'm kind of moving on to the next phase, which is going to be basically eliminating the refeeds and making this more of just a weekly caloric intake. But that's going to be better illustrated through the spreadsheet, so let's dive into the spreadsheet. All right, so as you can see, we got week 8 here, and on Monday I was 172.7. I've been trending up by about 1 pound each week during this reverse diet, which is a pretty healthy increase. This week I rounded out at 173.6 was my average weight. So again, about a pound increase from the week prior. And if you look here, I've got the average caloric intake when you take the refeeds and the daily intake, the normal days, and then you just average them out. So I was at 3,900 last week, or that was week 6 rather. Week 7 I was at 3,800, and then week 8 I was at 3,500. So if you look here, so this 220, 150, 15, that was a normal day, a non-refeed day last week. That's 2,640 calories, and then I had the refeed day here of 6,230, another refeed day here of 5,796, and then another slight refeed day here of 4,044. but the normal days was 2,640, so pretty low for me at least. This week, the normal days was right at the 230, 155, 10, which is 2,730 calories, so a little bump up from what it was last week on the normal days, but I had more refeed days. The refeed days weren't quite as high. This one was the highest at 5,809, and then we had a 3,000 calorie day, a 4,000 calorie day, just under 3,000, just over 3,000. So when you average all these out, we're down to 3,525 calories. So a pretty good drop from the 3,800 that we were at last week. Now, going into week 9, I'm basically going to increase my daily intake again. I'll be at 270, 165, 15 for a total of 3,150 calories, which is again a bump up from the 2,730 here. But I'm pretty much phasing out the refeeds for the most part. So what we have here is basically going into week 9, 10, 11, 12, the tail end of this reverse diet, we're having a higher weekly intake or higher daily intake, but it's going to be a lower average weekly intake. So I'm going to gradually increase what I'm consuming on the day-to-day basis, but I'm eliminating the refeed. So there's no need to have those massive high-calorie days because the normal day-to-day is higher. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to keep an eye on my weight, my composition, my skin fold test with the calipers, and my measurements, and ideally not see much of an increase in a negative way in any of those metrics, but then continually increase my day-to-day calories, but just basically phase out the refeed. So this last tail end phase of the reverse diet is going to really set the stage for making this a sustainable lifestyle, totally post-show, post-contest prep, post-reverse diet. My weekly calories are going to continue to increase, but my day-to-day calories are going to be pretty consistent throughout the course of the week without the need for the crazy high refeed days. And I'll gradually increase calories by about, probably 100 to 200 calories each week, and we'll see kind of what my body's doing there, and we'll see how my body responds. And ideally, I can continue to increase calories, continue to reset that baseline at a higher intake, but without having any adverse effects from a compositional standpoint. So that's what we've got going on here. That's week 8 for you. I'll dive into this in more depth with what that week is going to look like as I do week 9 as I do the video for week 9, because that'll actually illustrate what my foods are going to be like in that kind of scenario. So until then, y'all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.